Hey everybody, welcome back to Close to Be Milkshake. I am your host with my support chicken. What are you doing? Later. Today we are going to talk about main supply. I fucking hate that word supply, just so you know, but I know that you like it. My main is after the fantasy's gone and you become my partner. This is when you become the main. Now, the main is like my first boyfriend. It's all, the romance and everything is great, and we're having so much fun and making out in the car and doing all that bullshit, right? Then when you become boyfriend girlfriend, everything is still great, but after a while, it's like you're going out to dinner all the time, you're doing the same thing, you're on the same schedule, all that bullshit, right? Now, when I was with my boyfriend for 2 months, and then my mother moved us up to Northern California, because I was living in Southern California. So the pain of not being with him was so extreme that I asked to move down back to Southern California to live with my best friend. Now, I would still live like an hour and a half away from him, and we would write letters every single day. It was too expensive to call on the phone, so we would write letters. So this was like fucking, the Renaissance fucking era or whatever. Fucking Game of Thrones, sending the goddamn bird with the note, We would have to have a letter every single day that it came in, and that was romantic fantasy because we were kept apart. I would only get to see him for a few hours on the weekend, so it was like, After that was over, I did that only for like maybe another 3 months, and then I moved in with my grandparents and went back to school with him. So we were together all the time. We went to work together all the time, the same fucking work. After 2 years of this, it got boring. Now, my ex-boyfriend is a great boyfriend. He did nothing fucking wrong, nothing. I got bored. There were things like I would ask him to buy me roses, and he never would. Maybe that's why I hate roses. But he would never buy them for me. When did he buy them for me? When I broke up with him. He bought me roses, but it was too late. I was like, meh. But before I broke up with him, I was already setting my sights on somebody else because, they were new and they really liked me. And, I had my first boyfriend who was getting all like clingy, didn't want me to go out with my friends and stuff like that, because it was always him and I. And I take blame in that because I liked that it was just him and I all the time, but then I got tired of it just being him and I. So me pulling away from, us being fucking handcuffed together was not his fault. I just wanted to go do fucking other things. But he had already given up all his friends, so he was alone and shit. Whatever. Anyways, so I started to like somebody else. Now, this person was going to move to Florida. So I was like, okay, I can just dabble in that for a little bit, and then he'll be gone, because I didn't want another commitment. And that's what I did. Dabbled in that. He fucking left. Yay. I was single for a couple years. I was doing drugs, and I was just, having sex and just no attachment, and it was fucking great. Not the drug part. I mean, in the beginning it is, but, then I went and moved up to live with my mother, the monster, and I went to, 2 weeks after I moved up there, I went to a Halloween party. I was trying to get off drugs, and that's where I met my first husband. And my first husband was a drug dealer. And he was like, I told him I was up there trying to get clean, and he said, "You want some?" Ain't he great? So yeah, he was full-blown fucking cluster B, big time. And so I attached myself to him. We did the, what do you call it? Hung out with each other every day thing. But soon after, I moved back down to Southern California. So we were split again. And then the whole, "Oh, I miss you," blah, 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 shit, right? When he found out that I was moving back, the romance kind of with him. He was like, "Oh, I already got my prize," so he didn't have to fucking work it no more. I was already coming back. He was the most probably dead inside person that I've ever dated, and I ended up marrying him. He was a liar. He fucking drugs behind my back, stealing money, fucking everything. I was always, the only good time in that 2 years I was with him is when he got arrested, and he was on home arrest, and he couldn't go anywhere, and he had to stay with me, and I was happy because I knew where he was. He had to go to work and come home, or he got in trouble, and it was the best. And when that little fucking ankle bracelet came off, it all went downhill from there. So he was being a piece of shit, and then that's when I went to go and find husband number 2. And of course, in my first husband's eyes, he saw it as a betrayal of me, leaving him for somebody else. But he doesn't see his betrayal of doing drugs behind my back, going to parties, drug parties and stuff when he was supposed to be at work. Nah, that's cool, but I'm the piece of shit. I will always be the fucking piece of shit. I never slept with my second husband while I was married. I kissed him once. But I still was doing the emotional attachment. See how I'm trying to make excuses, but still, you know what I'm saying. When I left my first husband and divorced him, I felt nothing. I was done. I was starting my new life over. I felt betrayed by him, so I didn't give a fuck. Had to do some child custody stuff I'll talk about later, because I know you guys want to know how I deal with children in divorce, and we'll talk about that. But I was already attached to husband number 2. So in the end, I threw away husband number 1 like toilet paper. But he was, in the beginning, he was my first boyfriend. Okay? Then when I was going after husband number 2, I used to call him, I used to say, and he knows this, that I was the hunter hunting for a new person. He knows. He's the deer, I'm the hunter. And he's never said anything fucking, negative about that. But I was looking for someone to help take care of my son. A good fucking role model or whatever. At the time, you never know what the fuck you're getting into. And I'm young, I'm 21. And so We dated. He moved me in right away. He did all that narcissistic shit or whatever. He wanted me to be his housewife while he went out still with his friends and everything like that or whatever, and broke up with him. Then we got back together, and I remember when we got back together after having sex, I cried, and I hated myself. I hated myself that I went back to him, that I was not strong enough to be alone, that I wanted to attach myself to somebody new because I was a coward to be by myself. So that's what I did. I fucking was this shell of a fucking nothing, attaching myself, being everything that he wanted me to be, just so I wouldn't be alone. And that is not fair to him, but God, it's like survival mode for me, you know? I'm a fucking succubus, and I have to have a life to attach to suck, you know? It's my life's blood. I am nothing without the reflection of you, you know? Anyways, over the years, you know, with all the ups and downs, not roller coaster, that's last boyfriend, but just the ups and downs of, you know, because marriage has their good years and their bad years or whatever. I'm still this empty fucking thing. I was slowly, you know, removing myself from being the I like what you like person and being more of my empty self. Getting, you know, my positive supply from Facebook. But then, you know, I was deep diving into my my shitty behavior, which was the disposable supply after my first trauma bond. So near the end, I mean, you saw my maybe, but you should go watch the video of when I was married. In the end, I just could not wait to get away from this man. He was trying to act like my ex, toxic boyfriend that I cheated on my husband with. And he was yelling at me every other day, thinking that I'm cheating on him. Again, with the guy. And it did not matter that at a time that I was not talking to my ex-boyfriend, the trust was gone. And he thought that even when I wasn't talking to him, that I was talking to him. So you can't live in a relationship where somebody is always looking over your shoulder all the fucking time, thinking that you're being deceptive when you're not all the fucking time. I couldn't take it. I was like, I got to get the fuck out of here. I got to get out. And I reconnected with my ex because I got to have, you know, and I left, got out. And I was grateful that I didn't use my ex. I was so, my husband kept throwing my ex in my face that I kept thinking positive things about my ex. I miss my ex. I miss my romance. I miss my fantasy. My reality was going down the toilet. Why not reconnect with my fantasy? Why not? So I did. I reconnected with my fantasy and I made my escape because he would not leave me alone. If my husband left me alone, I probably would have not reconnected. I would have stayed away longer. I probably would have reconnected, you know, eventually because I know me, but I would have stayed away a lot longer. And yeah. Anyway. So yes, I did love my people. Oh, my last, you know, my ex-boyfriend, you know, yes, I loved him. I loved him too. I was trauma bonded to him. My borderline fucking shit came out on him. I could not breathe without him. And then he smothered my face with a pillow with his anger and shit. I started to become codependent and controlling. And I started to turn into his main. And when I lost the fantasy with him, I wanted to get the fuck out. But this time I had no one to attach to. And it was a different feeling. It was almost like being reborn, because I wasn't following my same pattern anymore. I started watching videos on, breakups and healthy breakups, and not jumping into new relationships, and needing to grieve and taking a huge fucking block of time. So that was my plan. I was not going to fucking reconnect. I was not going to wait for him to come back either. I was going to fucking just move the fuck on. And so I was watching all these helpful things, and that is when I started to deep dive into why I do the things I do, because I was taking notes on him and I was like, holy fuck, that's me. I already knew that, we were mirroring each other, but instead of me playing the victim this time, I took responsibility. Now, even though that him and I were abusive, he's not going to take responsibility, and he's going to think that I'm the demon. And it's kind of okay, because I like being the demon in his eyes. I like him thinking that I have that control over him. Because when you don't take control of your own feelings and you think that we can control you, coming back, saying some shit, just fucking yelling at you, all that shit, I love that. I love it. So when you leave and you don't come back, you are taking away that power from me. I hope that was helpful. Hope you have a nice day. And Mr. Chicken says, Namaste.